Hello, this is Marcus Boyce and it's time for another episode of Boyce-Brothers. In this screencast we're going to take a look at how to set up and use Apple's mail client, Mail, in Snow Leopard. But first, a quick discussion of the two main ways of getting email onto your computer. They are POP, that's Post Office Protocol, and IMAP, that's Internet Mail Access Protocol. POP is the older of the two and has the following advantages. Messages are stored locally. That means that the message store, i.e. the amount of emails you can have, is limited only by the size of your computer's hard drive. Computers' hard drives nowadays can be up to 2 terabytes. This means you can store a lot of mail. However, if this disk fails, your emails may be lost as they are stored locally on that disk. It also makes it difficult to sync between multiple computers, as if you download messages to one computer and then go to something like your laptop and download messages there, you'll have one set of messages on your main computer and the others on the laptop. IMAP, Internet Mail Access Protocol, the messages are stored in the cloud, normally with your email provider or your ISP, and not locally. This makes it easy to sync between multiple computers, as the mail is not stored on your hard disk. This also means that emails are safe, because if your hard drive fails, you can re-download them again. Your email provider, however, may limit the amount of storage, and you need a mail client that supports offline mode to be able to read email without a connection to the internet. To launch Mail, you can either launch it from the icon on your dock. By default, this is the postage stamp icon on the far left next to Finder. Alternatively, you can open Finder, go to Applications and scroll down to Mail. I'm going to launch it from the dock. This is the first time I've ran Mail on this account, so it's going to ask me for my name, my email address and the password to my email account. So I'm just going to go and fill that in. Mail will essentially try and guess by looking at the email what the settings should be. So in this case it's the Boyce-Brothers@gmail.com, so it's Google Mail account. So I'll click create and there it goes off, finds the Gmail servers and sets it up. Right, on the left it's showing me downloading the email. It's done there. In the middle pane are the actual emails themselves with the from, subject and date, and in the bottom pane that's currently blank at the moment will be the details of the email themselves. We can get to that by clicking on the email, and there they are. Let's take a look at some settings first of all that you may be interested in. To do that, it's Mail Preferences. Here's the account information that it got automatically from my Gmail email address. You can add additional accounts by clicking the plus in the bottom left corner of the Preferences window and then going through the same setup routine as if you'd ran Mail for the first time. This will add an additional account. Any accounts that you've added that you want to remove, simply left click to highlight and then click the minus button. This will remove the account. We're going to have a look now at the general preference pane, which is where you'll want to go when you set up Mail for two reasons. One is to make sure that Mail is set as your default mail client, and secondly to make sure that it automatically checks for email. If Mail is set to manually check, then to check an email has arrived you'll have to click the Get Mail button in the top left corner of the toolbar. If you set it to one of the other options, say every 5 minutes, as long as Mail is running in the dock, as you can see by the glowing orb under it, it will check for Mail every 5 minutes in this case. I've changed it now to every 15 minutes. It'll set it every 15 minutes. I'm going to go back to 5 minutes. Right, let's look now at sending an email. Right, I'm going to close preferences because I don't need those now. And to send a new message, you're going to click on the new message icon on the toolbar. This will bring up a screen, which is the new message. You've got the to field, who the email is going to, the carbon copy. a list of other people that you want to send the email to. So I could send it to my mum and carbon copy to my dad or my brother, for example, so they both get the email. And there's a subject field, so what it's about, and the window at the bottom is where the bulk of the email goes. So to get a to address, you can either type the address manually, or you can start typing an address that you know that's in your address book. There you are, it's filled in that one. Or alternatively, you can click on the address icon and then select, and when you're done, cross the address book off. You can also select multiple to, or CC, or blind carbon copy. That's a way of sending an email to somebody and they don't know who else you sent it to. For example, let's say I send this email to Tom and I send a blind carbon copy to myself, then Tom will get the email, but he won't know that I've also been sent the email. Right, to send the email, all you have to do is click send, and off it goes. As you can see from the activity monitor, it's got an outgoing message and it's gone, it's sent. And we look in the sent folder, we can see there I sent it to Tom, subject was test, it's sent today 11/12. Now let's have a look at some of the more advanced sending options, such as fonts, stationery, and attaching files and pictures. I'm going to create a new message. To do this, as before, you can click on the new message icon on the toolbar, or you can press and hold Command and N on your keyboard at the same time. I'm just going to fill in the address and a subject. In this case, we'll say hello. I'm going to type out a basic email message. Well, let's say I'd like to attach a document that's actually got the invitation on it. So to attach any kind of document, you can click on the attach button on the toolbar, and then using Finder's browser you can browse for the document. There it is, the document's attached. So when the person gets it at the other end, all they'll have to do is click on it and it'll open the document, just like that. Simply select behind the document that you've attached and press backspace. That will delete the document that you've attached. You can attach more than one document to an email. To do that, you can either choose one file at a time and then do the same again, or alternatively you can open the attach document function, click on the first document, hold the command key down, click on the second document, and so on until you've got as many selected as you wanted. There, they're attached to the document. You can also change the font. So let's say I'd like many thanks Marcus to be in a nicer font. To do that, select the text that you want, click fonts, and we'll choose this one here and we'll make it a bit larger. As well as changing the fonts and adding files, you can also add pictures from your iPhoto library. To do that, the photo browser, and here you can see I've got choice of my iPhoto events, all the photos in my iPhoto, or pictures I've taken from Photo Booth. In this case, I'm going to go into this event and choose this MacBook. To attach the picture, so as you can see, I've got it here selected. I'm going to drag it onto the email, and there it is. Close the photo browser. You can also, if you want, change the stationery of your email. So in this case, we'll click the email button, and as you can see, it's put a nice postage style thing in it. It's placeholders for images. It's put the one image in I've chosen already. So you could drag and drop to the other two. And if you don't like that stationery, it's very simple. All you have to do is find another one, and there it goes. It's very simple. To get rid of it, you click stationery and go back to the original, and that gives you the original email, complete with the other two pictures we've attached. If I wanted to send that now, I'd click send, as per usual. You can also change the colour, so I've selected some text here, and click colour, and you either get the colour wheel or the slider, or my personal favourite is the colour picker, so I'm going to want red text, and close that off, and as you can see, the text is red. I'm not going to save this as a draft because I don't want to send it, so I'm going to click don't save, and let's have a look at handling junk mail and receiving iCal invites. Junk mail is a way of marking, or Apple's Mail automatically marking emails that are spam or junk that you don't want to receive. Now at the moment I don't have any junk mail, or any mail that Apple's Mail thinks is junk mail. So what I'm going to do is show you how to mark an email as junk. So here's this email from YouTube. If we right click mark as junk mail, it'll go you mark this mail as junk, and it'll highlight it in green. If you get an email that's marked as junk automatically by Apple's Mail and isn't junk, you can simply click the not junk. Also, any mail that's marked as junk will not have its images loaded automatically. To load them, you can click the load images button. In this case it's greyed out as there's no pictures in this email. So I'm going to unmark this as junk, and I'm going to leave this one as junk and go to preferences, and in here there's a junk mail option, so we've got it turned on. When junk mail arrives, we've got three options: mark it as junk, leave it in the inbox, move it to junk mail inbox, or perform a custom action, which is done at the bottom. And you can also tell it that people in your address book, or people that you've previously received email from, or the message has got your full name, is to be exempt from junk mail filtering. There's also, you can trust junk mail headers sent by my ISP, so your ISP will know who's junk. They can tag emails with a special field, and you can also filter junk before you apply any rules. Here's an email that's been sent, and it's got an iCal invitation on, and there you can, if you want, going back into preferences, have Mail automatically add invitations to your iCal calendar, but in this case I've got it set to never. We can have a quick look. As you can see, I was invited to a party yesterday, so it's a bit late for that one. If you click on the iCal invitation, it'll open iCal, and you'll say this contains new events, please select a destination. Well, it's home because it's a party, so we click OK, and there it is, the party yesterday that I missed. That's iCal integration in Mail. So now you have the ability to send emails, receive emails. You can also reply to emails, which works in the same way, except you click reply, or if it's got multiple senders, you click reply all. You can mark messages as junk, you can understand junk mail handling, and you have seen iCal integration. This is all you really need to know to use Mail at a basic level. We'll now go on to have a look at one or two advanced options before wrapping this screencast up. So we've looked at the basic ability to send and receive email using Apple Mail. In this section, we'll look at some of the more advanced features of Apple Mail. Firstly, because Gmail is IMAP, and as we discussed earlier, IMAP stores emails on the server, you'll have access to those emails directly on the server. So in the left panel where mailboxes are, we can see Gmail, and underneath that are folders. Now these are folders that I've got set up on Gmail. Personal receipts, travel and work. They're labels in Gmail, but it's a little bit complicated, but essentially labels in Gmail are folders in IMAP programs. But in this one that says Google Mail, if you click the disclosure triangle, we can then see the actual email on the Gmail server itself. So we can see all mail, what's been deleted, any email that Gmail's picked up as spam, sent email, and so on and so forth. You can click the disclosure triangle next to it to hide it all. Above that we've got RSS, Real Simple Syndication. Now you can use Mail as an RSS reader, but it lacks some of the advanced functionality of other dedicated RSS readers such as NetNewsWire. So if you want to use that, I suggest you look at the upcoming screencast on RSS readers. Now if you've used iTunes, you might be familiar with smart playlists. Well, Mail has something similar called New Smart Mailbox. This is a way of you can automatically filter mails that come in to special mailboxes. Let's say I want email that's from the following address to automatically go into a folder called, as you can see, it's made the smart mailbox. I've called from brother, and any email that's from his email address appears in there. We're going to make another smart mailbox now, so we'll go to new smart mailbox, and this time we're going to make it so again we want it to be from, but this time we want it to have an additional condition. So we click the plus, and we want the subject, if it contains test, we want these to go into the brothers test emails smart mailbox, and there we go. And we'll make one more, a new smart mailbox, and we'll call this from Google. I want the from contains, and we just want Google in this because we want any of the Google emails. And there you go, that's 3 smart mailboxes created. Mail also lets you create notes which will sync with a iPhone or iPad if you have one. To create a new note, you click new note, or Control Command N for a new note, and then you can simply enter the note as follows. As per the previous part of the screencast, you can change the font, change the colours, you can turn the note into a to-do, you can send the note via email, you can attach a file to the note, and again, as per the previous part of the screencast, you can delete it or you can say done. And then a new section has appeared. As you can see, we've got reminders, and we've got notes and to-dos. Now we created the note, this is a note, and there's no to-dos because although I turned it to a to-do, I turned it back. I'm going to make a to-do now. I click on the to-do icon on the toolbar, or you can use the new to-do, which is Alt Command Y. We'll call this get some milk, and there it is. You can tick it to complete it. You can set an alarm. If we edit the to-do, You can see that it's got a due date, an alarm, so we click plus, and it can either send you a message with sound, or a email, or it can even open a file. So in this case it'll open iCal. You can choose something else. Now if we just switch over to iCal, and we're going to show the to-do list, it's automatically put this to-do list into my iCal. So there we go, we sync it. I'm going to quit iCal now, and it's ticked it in Mail. So Mail can work with iCal and can do your to-do list. It's quite good as a basic to-do list. Let's have a look at some advanced preference options now. Here's the general preference page that we looked at earlier. As I said before, you can set the default email reader, check for new messages, play a sound when they arrive, and you can also set the unread mail count. Now here it shows one unread mail message because it's showing the inbox only. You can either show all mailboxes, which will show two. It's showing the local mail and the one on the server. Or you can use one of your smart mailboxes. Now I'm going to set it back to inbox only. You can set where any downloads come through, so in this case it's going to the downloads folder. Remove unedited downloads after message is deleted. And if you have more than one mail account, you can choose which of the outgoing email servers to send from. You can set the default fonts and colors. Now emails come with what's known as a header, which shows you where they're from and so on and so forth, such as which route they take around the internet. You can turn that on. So if we do that, and we'll look at a message, and as you can see it's added a lot more information. Now this can be useful for troubleshooting, but most people probably won't want to see it. But as you can see, we've got the date, who it's to, the MIME version, and the received, and it was received by the following address, the following time, the message ID, and the content type. But like I was saying, most people won't want to see that, so we'll set that back to none. You've got options for composing, so we can have plain text or rich text. Rich text allows you to have fonts and colors. Plain text is just text. You can spell check, so you can either have it ASCII type where it puts a squiggly line under, and I'll show you that now. So let's create a new message, and I'm going to now you can see that it's put a red line under the typo. To change it, you just right click on the mouse or control click, and you get options to change it. You can change it to what it suggests, you can ignore it, learn it if it's a spelling that is correct, or you can search in Google or look up in dictionary. So we'll change it to that, and then you go look up in dictionary, for example. It'll load the dictionary app, and you can see typo, a typographical error. Back to preferences. So you can automatically CC or BCC yourself if you want to, but you also keep a copy of any messages you've sent in the sent folder. As you can see, I've only sent 3 from this account, but they're in there, so I don't think there's much need to do that, but you can if you want. Emails can have signatures, and this is a little bit of text that goes on the bottom of each email. So we've got signatures for all email accounts or signatures for specific email accounts. So to select where you want, click on it, and I'm going to click a plus, and it's by default has added one called signature 1, and it's put my name or the account name and the email address. Now double click on the name, so we're going to call this website, and we're going to put the website in there, and you can have this in a different. I'm going to want this to look in this case I'm going to want it to look like the rest of the email, so I'm going to tick always match my default message font, and you can choose whether to have the signature above text or below the quoted text. In this case I'm going to say I want it above, and you can choose which signature you want, so you can have it random in sequential order or a specific signature. I'm going to want website for this one. So any emails I send from my Gmail account will be attached with this signature. So here's a new message, and as you can see it's automatically put it on, but there's no real way of distinguishing that from the text. So let's go back to preferences, and I'm going to put a couple of dashes in front of it. Now let's start a new message again, and as you can see now it's separated by those two dashes. You also have the option, now that we've got signature, of choosing which one you want. So if I had multiple signatures, I can choose them here. I can also choose none. The last pane is rules, where you can set up rules that handle emails that come in. Now by default we've got one here, as you can see it's news from Apple, so we're going to edit that, and as you can see it's quite a complicated rule. If any of the following conditions are met, it's from all these Apple email addresses. It sets the color of the background to this color here, and then it stops evaluating rules. To create a new rule, it's quite simple. We can add a rule. So if the from contains Google, just like these smart mailboxes, you can move it to a mailbox, but you can copy it, set color, place sound. What we're going to do in this case is we're going to mark the message as flagged, and we're going to play a sound. I added the additional rule by the plus, and then we're going to stop evaluating rules because we don't want it to do anything else. Now it says, do you want to apply your rules? Because obviously we've got email. Now normally this will apply it as soon as the email comes in, but in this case because the emails have already arrived, it wants, do you want to apply them now? So we'll say yes. So I applied that rule, and if I wanted to make something that was similar, rather than going through the whole process again, we can duplicate it, but this gives it a name. It's called copy of Google Mail. We'll call this from brother. That's before, like my smart mailbox. From contains, so we don't want that and we don't want that, and all we want to do is play this sound, and there we go. That's it. To remove an email, it's very simple. Just click on it, click remove. It'll give you a warning, this can't be undone. And you can edit a rule by clicking on the rule and selecting edit. Well, that's it for this first Boyce-Brothers screencast. We hope you enjoyed it. Please check back soon for future screencasts. Thank you for listening.